All right, well, it's been a little bit of time since we've seen this man in the cage, but we finally get him back September 23rd in Farmington, Utah. Dietrik Jessop, number one contender fight coming up for you, man. How you been? It's been a couple of months since we've seen you.
Yeah, it's been good. I've just been training. Uh, uh, it's kind of there was a lot of time I had just like thinking about stuff, and I've been wanting to get in, but there's just been a lot of stuff going on. But I'm here, so it's gonna happen.
Yeah, more than anything, you're here, right? And we've been missing you. Two finishes in 3 months or so, near the tail end of 2022 and the top of 2023. During this time off, what are some of the things that you've been doing to kind of prep to get to that next level? Because I think this next fight, I think it's fair to say this is going to be the toughest test of your career thus far.
Yes, for sure. I've been training every day, 2 times a day. So that is for sure what I've been doing a lot. And I've been stretching a lot more because my last two fights I've gotten some positions where it was very it's like stretchy, and I don't know, I couldn't get out of it very easily. But yeah, but I've been training a lot more, so
Man, you bring up a couple of really good points there that I've wanted to ask you about ever since you started winning these fights. And I think one of them is just the dexterity of your body. You have an incredible ability of submission defense, positional defense in any way, shape, or form, because you are really, I mean, like you can kind of move in any sort of direction and get out of awkward positions. Where does that stem from?
so I started out martial arts with Hapkido. It's kind of like Taekwondo and Hapkido mix. And we did a lot of stretching there. So that's where I kind of came from. And I don't know, but I feel like I am more flexible than others, I would say. Like, not to be cocky or anything, but I don't know like exactly where it all came from. But there's like times where I'd be training and people get me in a position and they look at me like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like nothing's bad happening, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just really stretchy.
Interesting. And so,
Yeah.
when did that martial arts start, and when did the transition to MMA begin to happen?
I would say I was probably about 10 years old when I started the Hapkido, and then I was about 15 when I started MMA.
Very. And so where did you start MMA at? Because I know Vigilante Academy hasn't been around forever, but have you known Teague for a long time? And how did that relationship all come to be?
Yeah, so I started at Foley's MMA and boxing in Ogden. And then I transitioned for a few more MMA places just to see how it is. And then I found Teague actually at Foley's boxing sparring on a Saturday morning. They like sparrings for free. So we went there and I did a spar with him and I met him there. And I was actually looking for a job, and he told me about the juicery he owns. So I joined him there at the juicery, and then I kept training at Foley's for a little bit, and then I transitioned to Team Link in Layton.
Mhm.
And then that didn't really work out for me, so I started talking to Teague about more MMA stuff, and I kind of started with him, and that's just pretty much where it all started, from the juicery.
Okay, so that, I mean, that clears up a lot. I've always been curious of kind of your transition around, because when you made that debut, it was like, oh my gosh, this kid's certainly been doing this for a while, but we didn't really know the backstory to it. So I really appreciate that. So from 15 to 18, you didn't take any fights. Obviously, you can't, but at the age of 18, you took that first fight last October against Brendan Myers. When did you make that decision that you were going to do that? And was that a decision that you and Teague made together, or was it something that you had been looking forward to at the point of when you turned 18? How did that all come to be?
So right as I turned 18, I wanted to fight, but I knew I needed a little more training experience because from when I was at Team Link, I feel like I wasn't getting the right training. So that's part of the reason I changed to the Vigilante. And once we started going there, I started training a lot more. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sign up for the fight. And then Zach texted me and I was like, yeah, and he's like, you want to fight? I was like, yeah, let's do it. I kind of did it on my own, just like I'm gonna take this fight. But obviously I asked Teague, I was like, do you think this is good for me? He was like, yeah, however you feel, if you're good about it, then yeah, let's do it. And yeah, so that's how it went.
How has that relationship with T grown over the years? I mean, obviously you've been with him for a while now, but it seems like you two are kind of a 1-2 combo, and a very powerful one at that. How has that relationship grown and built over the course of the last, I would say, 11 months or so since you made your debut in October?
Yeah, it's grown tremendously. Me and Teague, we are like brothers, and I love him to death. He's helped me with a lot, and I hope that I've helped him with a lot as well. But yeah, he's like my brother to me, and we're on the top together, so I know that for sure.
He has so much faith in you, and I think it's one of the coolest relationships within the entire state at large. You talked a little bit about your debut, and that was against Brendan Myers, who has gone on to win 3 in a row, and he is also in that conversation for a title fight. I'm curious of what you make of such a barn burner of a fight that was. I mean, that was a real back and forth, super fast. Before we knew it, it was over, and you were the one getting your hand raised. Was that kind of the best way to kind of jump into this, just feet first into the deep end with someone like Brendan Myers and have a crazy fight? Do you think that benefited you?
Honestly, I would say not really because I feel like the longer I went, the more I would have known my skill against another fighter. Just because like when I went in there, I like everything happened so fast. I didn't like my mind was just going everywhere. And I just feel like it happened way too fast for me to really realize like how good I was against another opponent, I guess. So yeah, I think it was just a little yeah, I don't know.
No, and that's perfectly fine. The next step was Tony Garcia. That one went a whole lot longer. How did you feel in that one? And do you feel like you got more bang for your buck given the minutes that you got to spend in there?
Yes, I felt a lot better that fight. I felt like the to the third round, I felt better. So the experience, yeah, it was a lot more experience for sure because I was 3 rounds, so we went longer. But that fight, yeah, that fight was good. It was a crazy fight. I think there was a lot of wrestling in that one that I did more than I tended to.
That was a crazy fight. If I can remember, it was just like takedown after takedown, just trading back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Garcia, one of the top wrestlers in the entire state of Nevada when he graduated high school, an All-American. I mean, that was an unreal fight. Watch. I mean, just calling it was so much fun. I kind of want to change gears a little bit. More of a journalistic question than I normally do. But I heard you're also training a little bit at One Hit now. I've seen some photos. You, Teague, Zach Partridge, obviously, I'm very close to. What's it been like training over there? And what was the process in terms of getting over there and just getting your foot in the door with those guys?
Yeah, um so we had like some gym gym stuff that happened or we lost some guys and we needed more jiu-jitsu. So we went over to Aldo's to get some more jiu-jitsu in and they've been really good to us. Like we've learned a lot. Like I'm really grateful for them. But yeah, we train there quite a bit now. Probably I would say about 2, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot from them though.
So I know I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I mean, you've got the Cole Fausts, like there's some big names over there. Who are
Yeah.
some of the mainstays over there at One Hit that have really been helping you get prep for Christian Cortez?
I've had Aldo for sure because he's the main coach. I have Zach Partridge helps me. There's some other people, like some more jiu-jitsu people, like Nigel. I think he's a black belt there, I believe. Also Gustavo, yes, and Gustavo too. Yeah, they mostly them. They've helped me a lot there, but yeah.
I'm so interested talking a little bit more about just your training in general. You mentioned 2-a-days right now. How long have you been doing that? Because it seems like you are constantly in the room.
I would say end of June, beginning July. That's when I started the 2 days. There's days that when I'm not in fight camp and I still do 2 days when I have the time to. So yeah, I try to train as much as possible whenever I have time, mix in with the work, with the training and all that stuff.
Certainly staying busy, no doubt about it. Another thing I've always wanted to ask you about, Dietrik, it seems like, sometimes fighters aren't necessarily the biggest MMA fans in the world, but it seems like you, obviously wearing the 278 shirt, you seem like you are always tuned in to what's going on Saturday nights. And I absolutely love that. I'm curious of when did you start watching MMA?
I started right as I turned 15. So what happened was my family always used to watch it, but I was never really interested until I watched the Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman, the first fight they had. And that fight what really got me going. And I started training right after that fight. I was like, Mom, I wanna do this. Like this is my dream now. So
What was it about that Colby Kamaru fight that really tugged at your heartstrings?
It was just really intense. I don't know. It just really got me going and like got me hyped. And I was like, I want to do this. Like they look badass and they look like ninjas. So
So yeah, kind of on that same track, asking about the UFC. Is there any specific fighter that you specifically look up to, try to model your game after, someone who is specifically your favorite to watch or emulate, I should say?
I really like Israel Adesanya's style. I like how calm he is and he's very precise. That's my probably my favorite fighter. Now also I'm starting to like Leon Edwards a lot with his grappling and his MMA now with this I mean striking. But the last fight he had with Kamaru Usman, he really showed that he can grapple and strike. So
Would you consider yourself? I mean, someone looks at your record, it's like, oh, this guy's got slick jujitsu, which you absolutely do. But would you say that's your game, or are you really trying to incorporate more of your striking into your fights and things like that?
yeah, I really like striking. I would like to do more striking more. I think that's probably my favorite. Yeah, but if grappling's there, I'll do that too. I love both of them, but I think I'm more of a striker.
Talking a little bit about Teague and all of the things that surround you two and the team that you have. I'm so fascinated by this. It seems like you guys are constantly working, and it seems like, yes, there is the martial arts aspect. Yes, there is you going to one hit to get your jujitsu in, but it seems like the cardio on all of you guys are, second to none. It's some of the most high level, most weaponized cardio pace in the entire state. If you could just break down a cardio, like a cardio workout, what a circuit workout is like with Teague at the helm and you either on the bike or jogging laps, whatever it may be. Could you just break that down for us?
Yeah, so we rent out a CrossFit gym called Latrano up in Syracuse. So that helps a lot. We do a lot of CrossFit workouts and they help a lot with that. Also, the bike is really hardcore on your cardio, so we do that a lot too as well. That probably helps me the most is the bike. So we do a lot of bike.
A lot of bike. How far are you going? Like what is the distances on those monitors by the time you're done?
So I don't really check that to be honest with you, but we do a thing where we set a time where we do, let's say like 10-second pace, and then we do a 20-second burst, and we do that for like probably 3 minutes, however many rounds we want to do. But
We talked a little bit about your MMA fandom, but we didn't talk a whole lot about the fierce MMA fandom, which I know you also do follow. You know the landscape of the state. When you think of Christian Cortez, who you're going to be fighting, Michael Eastwood, Mason Sorensen, Brendan Myers. I mean, there's a handful of really talented guys, and you're right there at the top of the list. What do you make of the skill level in your weight division at the amateur level?
yeah, so I always look at other people's things to see what they're doing, and I do focus on my training more because I'm always looking levels ahead. I'm trying to go to the UFC, so I'm gonna be a UFC champ. So that's my main goal. But yeah, I still watch their videos just to see, just in case I do fight them, just so I can be prepared ahead of time. So yeah.
Thinking about Christian Cortez, how are you feeling headed into this one? Because, like mentioned earlier, this is the biggest test of your career, and it even says on the poster, this is the number one contender fight. It's this one and then the belt. So, what is your mindset headed into this one?
I'm honestly very excited for this fight. Um, I think I'm more excited than I was with the other two fights before. I don't know. I think it's the number one contender thing, but I'm really excited for it, and I think I'm gonna put on a good show, and it's gonna be a masterclass. So
Well,
yeah,
you typically do, Dietrik. You have done a great job so far, and we cannot wait to see you. Been too long, but we're happy to have you back September 23rd in Farmington, Utah. Dietrik Jessop facing off against Christian Cortez. Dietrik, thank you so much for the time, man. Appreciate it.
and you too. Thank you.